Welcome back to Is It Still Good, the channel where we watch older films and let you know if they still hold up. Today, in honor of New Year's times, I figured I would just try to find like a party film of some kind, and I stumbled on Dazed and Confused. 1993, R-rated, runs 1 hour 43 minutes, directed by Richard Linklater, and also written by him, the Linklater, and stars Jason London, Wiley Wiggins, Matthew McConaughey, Joey Adams, Mila Jovovich, and others. It's a big ensemble cast, and it's just kind of a slice of life deal about a couple of characters coming of age. It's a comedy, takes place in the 70s in Austin, Texas, around a bunch of high school kids, and that's it. We're gonna get into it. Let's sell a book though, okay? Okay, we're back. Hopefully we sold the book. Did you buy a book? Go buy a book. Those are my books. I wrote those books. They're good books. I write good books. Unkillable Joe's a good book. International best-selling author Joe Vallen, written by Joe Vallen, is arguably a better book. They're good books. Anyway, Dazed and Confused. What did I think? You can probably already tell from my voice. I'm just going to cut right to the chase. I didn't like it. I didn't like it this time around. Next year, if the channel's still thumping right along, let's make Strange Days our New Year's times, special times films. How's that? But this year we're stuck with Dazed and Confused. And I gotta tell you, I didn't like it that much. You know, it follows a bunch of jocks in, in the 70s, running around, making a bunch of pot jokes and talking about beers and stuff like that. I don't know. It's like their last day of school. There's supposedly this party at this kid's house. It gets canceled, and they end up just driving around, getting into mischief, until they locate a new party in the middle of the woods, and that's the big climax of the film. That's what you get. Okay? I know I sound like a killjoy, but it is pretty dumb. I think Linklater was just trying to live out some sort of fantasies. Looking back at my experience, I partied as hard as anyone can in my day, I think, and I'm just not in that space where weed, it's just not funny to me. Oh, get some beers and so what? Have a drink. You know what I mean? I'm 42. If you're gonna have a drink, have a drink. If you're gonna smoke, smoke. Whatever you're gonna do. Observing the legality of your state's local ordinances. But it's just not, it's so what? So what? It's all legal everywhere now. It's not a big deal. It's something you do once in a while to chill out, take the edge off, whatever. But as far as the culture in this film at that time, I just can't get behind it. And also, if this is some sort of glory days story to relive, who's reliving this? Is Linklater reliving this? Was this you? Were you the captain of the football team, Linklater? Hanging out with Mila Jovovich's and Joey Adams's? By the way, full disclosure, I had a mega crush on Joey Adams at this time. Right up through her Chasing Amy time, and I always thought she was hot stuff. So yes, because of her, I would sit through this film, and because I did like to party, so to speak, I thought this film was for me. But upon rewatching it, it dragged. The story I can't really get behind. The protagonist isn't really that likable or charismatic. He's okay. He's an alright guy. He doesn't beat the kid when the other guys do. That's the other thing in this too, the beating of the kids. I don't know. I don't know if that's so cool. It's alright. I'm not trying to be a bleeding heart, but that looked pretty abusive and traumatic to me. And I gotta tell you, this could be Ben Affleck in his most Affleckian role ever. And if I ever caught a young Ben Affleck beating my kid with a paddle in public, he'd be a sad fleck that day. He'd be a real sad fleck that day, I can tell ye. He'd have a hard time fitting back into the cowl, I'll tell you that. So, Just my 2 cents. This is a weird movie. And it put me in a weird place. Like, okay, it's all right. You know, the one thing I did not expect from Dazed and Confused that you can put in the pro column is it's kind of like, it's got like amazing, beautiful cars in it. Everybody's got an awesome, dope car. I wanted everyone's car in this whole film. And it really does exemplify how shitty cars have gotten as far as like soulless and crappy compared to like cars of that era. They just look awesome. I would love to own a car from that era. I totally get it now. And watching this movie, all I can think about is the cars for the most part, because the story's non-existent. The acting sucks. The characters kind of suck. The main kid, protagonist kid, I guess you could say, the coming-of-age kid, the freshman, who has the same arc, by the way, as the girl freshman. You know, they're both brought into the fold of like the juniors and soon-to-be seniors because they caught somebody's eye, you know, and were invited in the same way. The kid gets beaten, you know, because he's male, so it's okay. The girl got ketchup put on her. But other than that, it's the same arc. You know, the one's like mentally abused. The other one's a Fleckian abused. But other than that, they both like kind of make it into the fold of the cool kids. And that's great. But I don't know, the story also follows like a side group of kind of outcasts. There's like 3 of them. There's the whiny one, the albino, and the lollipop-haired chick, you know? And they don't quite fit in with the cool kids. But they get invited anyway by McConaughey, who's like totally statching through the whole movie, by the way.
No, I'll tell you. That's what I love about these high school girls, man. I get older, they stay the same age.
Completely statching. You know, in this film, McConaughey sounds amazing. Everything he says sounds amazing, but everything he says is also terrible. So he says a lot of terrible things with a really cool, slick accent, right? And then at the end of it, he gets the lollipop-haired chick to go on a date with him. There's no arc. It's not like he learned a lesson or anything. He's just going to hook up with her now. She's also really young, you know, so whatever. So it's not like he learned anything or got a comeuppance. And the one whiny kid that stood up for himself got beat up. And he's trying to console himself by saying, hey, people will probably forget about this, right? They'll forget, right? That's like his big payoff. And as far as like the freshman kid, what happens to him? He just is now part of this tradition that's not really that appealing, really. The characters aren't that likable. The really mean girl is funny, but she becomes like the villain of the piece and gets really drunk and just goes away. That's it. The music is good in this movie. I'll give it that. It looks very clean. It's directed well. It's shot well. The acting is awful for the most part, with the exception of, you know, because it's like a lot of young actors and a lot of them suck. But there's like McConaughey. Like he's just like full of charisma in this. He's great. So the pros in this film are like Mila Jovovich is in it and awesome cars. The cons are crappy acting, unlikable characters, no plot, no story. The movie drags for a while. Drug jokes are annoying. You know, full disclosure, we did an edible during this. It's legal where I'm at, okay? And I still didn't laugh at the stupid pot jokes. You know what I mean? That's got to tell you something. So, not that great. What else did I write here in my notes? They're all kind of jumbled around. Adam Goldberg, the whiny one. He plays the same part in The Prophecy as Christopher Walken's Ghoul. He just whined in that too. It's pretty funny. But anyway, overall with this film, I just picture my parents running around in the 70s. Hell, I was probably conceived on a night like this depicts. Ugh. So it's just not my thing. It didn't jive with me. I know you guys are going to freak out, but I got to give it a numeric score. Just because it's shot well, there's nice cars in it. Mila Jovovich. Decent music. Alright, isn't it? I'm going to give this a 6.5 out of 10, but I think I'm being really, really generous. I didn't enjoy it 6.5's worth. Okay? I enjoyed it 5 out of 10's worth. Okay? It wasn't that great for me. So, call me crazy, call me cranky, but it's New Year's times, I hope I didn't dampen your New Year's. And remember, the only cool way to party is like a super duper grown up, where if you're gonna have a couple of drinks, you just go to bed because you did it in your own household. You know, like boring is the new cool. And watching this movie sort of really brings that into focus. Like, God, I would hate to just be running around like that for a whole night. Like, ugh, I'd be so tired. So that's my 2 cents. Happy New Year's, everybody. Get some rest tonight, and I will see you next time on Is It Still Good?
Yeah, man. I mean, that's where all the girls are, right?
Yes, they are.
But on the other hand, man, I just as soon keep working, keep a little change in my pocket.
Yeah? Wait.
Rather than spend my time listening to some dipshit who doesn't know what the hell he's talking about anyway.